And you're just in time for Richard Mwenja exclusive. So glad to have you on board. And as usual, I'm not alone, if not with Nerima Wako, Kiptorab Kirwa, and several others. I'm with this resident analyst, celebrated thought leader, Professor Herman Manyora. Great to see you, Prof.
Yes, how are you?
I'm pretty much okay. How about you?
Wonderful.
All right, fantastic. Prof, let's have a conversation about restoring our legislature. We've had talks about it now being turned into a den of graft, having biased speakers, but we've been here for longer, compared to us. So let's start with even the speakers. The other day, the Standard profiled Speaker Marende, Speaker Moses Wetangula, and Speaker Amason Kingi as the worst speakers ever in Kenya's legislature history. So then again, to what do you owe this blemish being put on them, even by Standard Media itself?
I don't think there is really much you can say, but the two speakers have not lived up to the expectations, because when you compare people like Wetangula to somebody like Marende, then there's no comparison. When you remember Oda Francis Ole Kaparo, then you see a speaker. Now, when you come to this other, they are falling over themselves to please the executive, making rulings that are outrageous. And even after courts rule them out of order, they still don't change because they are just out to do the executive bidding. And I always remind people like Wetangula to go back in history and see how Marende navigated Parliament where Kibaki had absolutely few MPs as opposed to ODM, Raila Odinga's ODM. And yet Marende was able to navigate that Parliament. And he was an ODM person. He had actually been elected on an ODM ticket. If Marende had wanted to collapse Kibaki's government, they would have done it. But he did his job. Sometimes some people look at him as being stupid. Why doesn't he use his office to make things tough for Kibaki? Because Kibaki didn't have enough MPs. Yeah. But Marende did what few would do. Stick to the role of a speaker as a neutral arbiter. He didn't favor Raila. Many were the occasions, like towards the end of that term. If Marende had been Wetangula and some of these other speakers, he would have ensured that the people who are crossing over would have lost their seats.
There and then.
Yeah, he would have made it very difficult for PNU and the rest of those people in Parliament. Kibaki would have had a tough time if Marende had been like Wetangula. So what soils Wetangula's name is the hurry to please the executive. That he'll do anything with speed to do what the executive wants. You can help the executive not necessarily by breaking the law or by doing irregular things, but by doing the right things. Yeah.
So if this trend is gonna go through into the future, whereby speakers are viewed to be openly biased,
yes,
even from Parliament itself, from members of Parliament, what do you think is gonna be the outcome of this increased open bias from the speakers?
I think we must get to a point where speakers behave more like Marende and Kaparo than these other speakers I've seen. But it's not easy. Even in America, there was Nancy Pelosi for many years, a Democrat. Tough, doing things that are obviously Democrat in nature and in orientation. So it is not easy to be a speaker and be very neutral. And that's why I'm citing Marende and Kaparo. Yes.
It makes sense. Talking about National
Anybody
Assembly
who wants
speaker.
to be speaker or who is speaker, please check. Look at the work of Marende. Look at the work of Kaparo. That will give you a fairly good picture of what a speaker should be. Yeah. They may not have been perfect. Yeah? In fact, they must have been far from perfect. But when you mention Kaparo, somebody can see a speaker. A speaker comes to mind. When you mention Marende, the same. These others, after that, have been a little wanting.
Some political pundits have interpreted Wetangula's sort of bidding for the executive as a strategy to secure his future political bids, especially when it comes to elective bids in his hometown, Bungoma County. Now, with the Tim Wanyonyi's entry to Bungoma politics, he's now going to vie for the gubernatorial contest. Do you think that has now spoiled the party for Moses Wetangula in his backyard?
It will be difficult for Wetangula to go run for anything when his brother is going for governor. They will spoil for each other. They will both go home.
Both of them?
Of course. Their opponents will have a field day. Kwani hawa wamefikiri ni kitu ya mama yao? Baba yao. Hii si ya baba yao, si ya mama yao. Hii ni kitu ya watu. Sasa angalia, look, they are fighting over the same things. One wants to be speaker, another wants to be... They will not make it. None of them will make it. So, if I were Wetangula, I would not want to spoil for my younger brother. I will let him become governor with my support, and I will go for national things.
How higher can he go from the speaker?
Wetangula is a shrewd politician. Anybody who dismisses him should be careful. Look, by simply leaving Raila and joining Ruto, look at how he changed the equation. Ruto's victory. People are seeing other people, but why are they not seeing Wetangula? If Wetangula had not supported Ruto, I don't think Ruto will be president now. I mean, those Bungoma votes were very important. Yeah. So, Wetangula is a very calculating politician. Very, very shrewd. So I don't write him off. At the national level, he can still go far. Yeah. He can go somewhere beyond where he has reached.
Prof, on this particular program, you've gone on record saying that this is the worst parliament ever in Kenya's history. Yes. But then again, do you owe this to the reality that we've made Kenyan politics so lucrative that oftentimes those who elect to represent us are going there for primitive accumulation of wealth and not really to serve our interests?
Of course. We made parliament a place to make money. And that's where the problem is now.
It's the channel to riches?
Yes.
So then, as a Manyora president, perhaps, would you probably now term all these privileges, perks, and allure that comes with being an MP in the first place?
Automatically. I will ask the people of Kenya to help me make parliament a place where people go and serve the people, not to make money, by removing any devolved funds and taking the funds to the governors.
Even CDF?
CDF, all, they are more than CDF, nothing, bursaries, completely nothing, everything, governor. Two, making MPs earn reasonable salaries. Not what these are obnoxious figures. An MP should not earn more than 200,000 shillings. At the very maximum, 250, 300. Three, no sitting allowances. You are already paid. Why do you want to have sitting allowance? Why?
You don't want to factor how much they spend during the campaigns?
You buy your car the way everybody buys their car. Anybody employed buys the employer doesn't buy them a car. So no car allowance, whatever they call this one, grant or whatever. Housing, you make your own house. You buy your own house. We don't buy a house for you. Why should we buy a house? Why should the people of Kenya buy a house for you? You know this extra mileage claim, all those things will not be there. What I will then ask the people of Kenya to do is to put up a parliamentary village. We look for like 100 acres somewhere nice and they put up houses for MPs. Hamisi House, Kabete House, Ijara House, Lagdera House. I don't know whether you see what I'm talking about.
I get it. A village to host our members of parliament.
Yes.
Build on government money.
Yes. Then when you are there as an MP from Hamisi, there is a house for the people of Hamisi. You occupy it. In that village, there are wonderful schools for their children. They are all the amenities they need. In fact, we may even build parliament there if we want. But even if we don't build permanent, they will have offices there, constituency offices and constituency houses with all the amenities, schools, hospitals and everything for future. so that when you are in Nairobi, you have a place to stay. We don't need to give you any money, no house allowance. There's nyumba ya watu ya Mkuruweni iko hapo. Rich countries like America, we saw the former Vice President, Pence, carrying a sleeping bag when he's not in Indiana, when he's in Washington. He sleeps in a sleeping bag, office yake. Vice President of the most powerful nation on earth. The richest nation on earth. Where we all go begging. The Vice President is using a sleeping bag when he's not flying back home. Indiana, wherever that was. Anakaa kwa sleeping bag analala kwa office. Nyinyi maskini hapa unataka upewe house allowance sijui pesa ngapi.
A chase car perhaps.
Upewe na allowance sijui ngapi. A bodyguard. We can't have that. We know we must accept. How can you afford an MP to a bodyguard for an MP? Nani anatafuta MP? In fact, I'm more exposed than most MPs.
Really?
Yeah, of course. I'm more exposed than 90% of the MPs. The things I say in public can endanger my life more than an MP. Who knows even these MPs?
It is Manyora who needs a chest car.
If they pass anywhere in the world, anywhere in this country, 99.9%, who will know them? Unless it's in their own constituency. Where would I know, go where people don't know me? So I'm not saying anything, and I'm just saying that we are very reckless in our spending. So you give an MP a bodyguard, it is a status symbol, not a requirement. In a working country,
Sure.
every citizen deserves protection and security. If you want special beyond the normal, if you want security for yourself, you present yourself to the police and they make an assessment. So Manyora can go and say, look here, I may not be anything, but because of the public space I occupy, because of the sort of things I engage and the conversations I have, I feel my life is maybe in danger. They will allow you to carry firearm, and they can even provide security for you. That's how it should work. We don't give people merely because they have been hired. Because now you have been hired as an MP.
We assume you need protection.
What do they do with those bodyguards? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Who knows them? Who can harm them?
Prof is more at risk than most of the
Yes,
MPs.
but that's a fact. I offend a judge, for example, makes very tough rulings.
Yeah.
The life of a judge is in danger all the time. And you see, it's automatic they need security. Not for prestige. The judge requires security. A driver, because the judge is going to court to deliver a judgment or a ruling, na anapitia hiyo ruling kwa tablet yake, ama wale kama Manyora bado wako manual, ana makaratasi anasoma ili akiingia kotini is fresh.
Yeah.
So for the abductor, I don't know what they call it, on the sides, as you read, you also have to say something, auditory markers for speech kwa hiyo ruling. That is a judge. They require a driver. They require a bodyguard. Because by the nature of your work as a judge, you make enemies. You are at risk. But what? So we just distribute things in this country like...
And just like that, you would have deconstructed the place of money in Kenya's politics.
Nobody will become an MP unless they have something. And that's what it was in the 60s and the 70s. Many of the MPs who are there in the 60s and 70s, the Stanley Godias of my place and the rest of those, were removed by crooks who came with money. When the concept of Harambee now got a new meaning. Oh, this classroom does not have, it was grass touched. Mina mwaga hii yote chini. Naweka mbao na mabati. MP. Is a crook, is a thief. But hapo awali ilikuwa watetezi. Sema watetezi.
Watetezi.
Walikuwa naitwa watetezi.
The people's watchmen.
Yes, watetezi. Political fighters, people who fought for independence from a political platform, kutetea, to defend, to protect, to advance the interest of Kenyans at the grassroots level. Those are people who became councillors. Those are people who became our first members of parliament, 1963 to 1979. And then 1979 to 1974. As we enter 1974, but more particularly 1979, but especially from 1974, this animal called Arambe, the late Jacob Luceno, a Luya musician, composed and sang a very popular song, Maguru. Maguru are the village elders. They will be having receipts like this. Wanapitia kwako unasikia wanataka za weko. Weko, there was this craze of every province having a technical something. Western College of Arts and Technology, RIAT, those kind of Kimathi, you know, those kind of things.
Sure, yeah.
Those schools now, they were kissed when they were. So they were, every chief had those receipts distributing to Maguru. And they will come at home and get things if you don't pay, including your chicken. Wanabeba wale wazee wa kijiji. It was so tough. There were so many Arambes. A chief would be having receipts like this. This is given, he takes them down to the chief. The chief takes the assistant chief. The assistant chief gives to the... So Maguru became very unpopular people. And that song was Maguru. Very nice. And
I'll look for it.
That's the time now. This idea of development conscious leaders came up. So somebody would come and say, Chief, najua uko na marisiti na mmeulizwa kila chief apeleke 10,000. Wacha kusumbua watu. Leta hiyo marisiti hapa. Shika 10,000. Peleke ya DC. And the people became... that's why we lost it. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Allow me wrap it at that. We've been talking the steps you can take to restore the lost glory of our parliament, and also the need for Moses Wetangula, Amason Kingi, and members of parliament to call themselves to order. I hope they have listened to Professor Herman Manyora. It remains to be seen whether they'll tap into his nuggets of wisdom. We do this again tomorrow evening. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.